For many in the world of Street Fighter, legacy is everything. The name Matsuda doesn't carry the same weight of Ansatsuken or Bushin Ryu, not yet anyway. But it's rising, one thunderclap at a time. Brazil is home to carnival, capoeira, and a rich martial arts tradition. But it's also home to two siblings, Laura, bold and electric, a force already making a name for herself on the global stage, and Sean, brash and determined, a fighter still trying to break out of the shadow of those who came before him. Both Laura and Sean carry the legacy of the Matsuda family name, but they do it in wildly different ways. Sean idolizes fighters like Ken Masters, flashy, powerful, and beloved. In his eyes, Ken is the gold standard, and he's determined to reach that same level. He may have the heart of a warrior, but he's still a student trying to make a name for himself. Laura, on the other hand, doesn't seek approval. Her fighting style radiates confidence, grounded in her heritage, but enhanced by raw instinct and electricity. She's not following anyone else's path, she's carving her own. This is the story of Laura and Sean Matsuda, the storm that's arrived, and the spark still waiting to ignite. Sean Matsuda made his first appearance in Street Fighter III New Generation. But even then, he was something of an outsider, not just in the story, but in the game's very development. In an interview with Street Fighter director Takayuki Nakayama, New Generation's producer, Tomoshi Sadamoto, explained how Sean wasn't part of the original New Generation roster. Speaking plainly, when asked, was Sean present from the beginning, Sadamoto-san said he was not, but we didn't have enough characters. Sean was created as what the team then called a compatibility character, someone intentionally designed to be weaker, a handicap option. If two players were mismatched in skill, the stronger one could say, "I'll use Sean, so let's play." His status as a student wasn't just a narrative choice, but also a mechanical explanation for why he lacked polish compared to other fighters. But Sean became more than just filler, and despite being designed to be weak, he immediately stood out. He didn't come with the stoic intensity of Ryu, or the polished confidence of Ken. He came with energy, attitude, and the hunger to grow. In the Street Fighter universe, he idolizes Ken Masters, viewing him not just as a teacher, but a symbol of who he wants to become. His moveset reflects just that. A loose echo of the Shoto style, altered, scrappy and unrefined. He can slam dunk an opponent like a basketball, or leap into a chaotic version of a Tatsu, but he lacks the tight discipline of his mentor. In spite of what the developers intended for the character, in-game he was initially strong, even top tier in Second Impact, a fact that clashed with his story arc, as shown in his ending. There, Ken tells Sean that in order to be the best, he must defeat Ryu, and to not come back to him until he does. Ken must go and do other things. Determined to become a great fighter, Sean throws himself at Ryu again and again. His enthusiasm concerns the World Warrior, who is worried that he's fighting only because Ken told him to do so. By third strike, however, he's deliberately toned down mechanically, becoming truly low tier. His character introduction shows he's still out to impress Ken, however, who warns him that he's not yet ready to fight. In his ending, Sean finally wins a fighting tournament, becoming the US champion. Except that it's all just a dream. Though Ken says it was a close fight, he doesn't make it past the qualifying rounds. Ken says he did not train properly, but Sean is undeterred. He will get his revenge by winning the next one. Sean's story hits deeper than many people give it credit for. He's not a prodigy or a chosen one, just a kid who wants it more than anything. And sometimes that still isn't enough. Though he never returned to the roster in Street Fighter 4 or 5, he was not forgotten, and would appear as a side character in Street Fighter 5, the events of which are set before the Street Fighter 3 series. Sean appears in his sister's story mode, where Laura shows her affection towards him through her jiu-jitsu. But it's Sean who inadvertently gives her the idea to travel the world and defeat other fighters in order to promote Matsuda Jiu-Jitsu. He also briefly appears in Blanca's story mode, where he suggests that he takes his Blanca-chan dolls to Japan. They like weird stuff after all. Laura also takes Sean's place on the roster in the Street Fighter III arcade run of Street Fighter V. Her ending shows her relaxing on a beach with a magazine, in which Sean is shown finally having won a tournament. He also appears in Street Fighter V's main story, A Shadow Falls, where he is confronted by Fong regarding a chess piece that has been delivered to his sister. Ken, Chun-Li and Cammy arrive just in time to save him, as they too are seeking the pieces to prevent their use in activating the Black Moons. Several doomsday devices, the use of which would help power up M. Bison. Just as Sean is about to hand over the piece to Ken, Laura arrives on scene, having beat up a bunch of Shadaloo soldiers, and aggressively teases him about having a girlfriend. A sight which leaves Cammy confused, and Chun-Li uncomfortable. Laura then confronts Ken, who she believes was bullying Sean. He intervenes, however, and convinces Laura that Ken and the others saved his life, and to let them have the chess piece they are looking for. He then gets teased again. Fast forward to Street Fighter VI, which takes place after Third Strike, and Sean's presence is far more subtle. Ken briefly mentions a fiery past student in World Tour mode, who threw himself at everyone with reckless abandon. But it still feels like Sean isn't done just yet. Though he was never supposed to be the star, he still shines. And if, or perhaps when, he returns to the roster, it won't be simply as a brother or a student, it'll be as someone who has earned his place. When Laura Matsuda debuted in Street Fighter V, she didn't arrive quietly. Crackling with electricity and confidence, she embodied everything her brother Sean lacked: poise, power, and presence. Where Sean was searching for validation, Laura arrived with the energy of someone who already knew her worth. An ambassador of Matsuda Jiu-Jitsu, as well as its planned inheritor, Laura sets out on a mission not just to test her skills, but to spread her family's fighting style across the world. That's her story motivation, but it also reflects something deeper. A desire to give her legacy global weight. To show that her fighting style isn't just regional, it's world class. Her grappling style is somewhat unique in the Street Fighter roster. Where many others rely on brute force or raw intimidation, Laura's fighting is fluid and explosive. She doesn't stalk her opponents, instead she surges towards them. Quick dashes, command throws, and that ever-present electricity makes her one of the most unpredictable characters in Street Fighter V. But beneath the flash, there's substance. Laura doesn't just represent the Matsuda name, she's the heir to its legacy, and that responsibility comes with its own weight. During her Street Fighter V story, she crosses paths with the likes of Birdie, Karen Kanzuki, and even Ryu, in whom she senses the presence of the Satsui no Hado. Something she feels made the fight more thrilling. Eventually she tussles with Zangief, who she impresses enough to give her an invitation to a new wrestler talent scouting tournament. Laura also crosses paths with Armika in her story, where they develop a mutual respect for one another. And she also meets Blanca in his story, accidentally stepping on a Blanca-chan doll and getting into a fight. Speaking of Blanca-chan dolls, one of Street Fighter V's side readers offers a rare, heartfelt glimpse into Laura's life. As Christmas approaches, she stares quietly out the window, unusually subdued. Her older brother Fabio and their father, Yuichiro, both notice the change in her mood. At first they wonder if it's tied to a long-forgotten childhood incident. When Laura was 10, Yuichiro had dressed up as Santa Claus, only for a half-asleep Laura to mistake him for an intruder and throw him across the room. But they quickly dismissed the idea, as that was years ago. Next, they consider romance troubles. Laura has never had much patience for men weaker than her, and there have been multiple incidents of boys trying to flirt with her, usually ending in a bruising beating. Then suddenly Laura lights up. She smiles, bolts for the door, and shouts, "He's here!" Fabio and Yuichiro follow, only to find a green-skinned figure with wild hair and a familiar feral laugh, Blanca himself, delivering what looks like a gift. Yuichiro watches in silence before muttering, "I see," simply wishing for his daughter's happiness. Laura, noticing them watching, grins and holds the gift out to them. Inside the box is a collection of plush dolls. Not Blanca-chan's, but of an elderly man in judo gear. Kinjiro-chan, a mascot modeled after her grandfather, the founder of Matsuda style. Inspired by Blanca-chan, it seems Laura has created a mascot of her own, and her father breathes a quiet sigh of relief. In Street Fighter V's main story, Laura is first seen teaming up with Alex in a tag team match against Mika and Zangief, stealing the microphone from the ring announcer and hyping up the audience. She is also one of the fighters to receive a mysterious chess piece in the mail, which she later learns is one of many that can activate Shadaloo's doomsday weapons. After a misunderstanding with Ken Masters, whom she believed was harassing her brother, she joins forces with Ken and the other fighters in their quest to defeat Bison, making a deal with Ken to promote Matsuda jiu-jitsu by using his online karate classes. Laura is later seen alongside the other fighters in the final assault against Shadaloo. Interestingly, Laura is one of the few new Street Fighter V characters who made an immediate impact on the fanbase. Yes, not just for her design, but for her gameplay and, yes, personality. She's loud, assertive, and joyful, not angry or vengeful, just someone who loves fighting and taking pride in her family's art. In a game often driven by revenge arcs and secret conspiracies, Laura's mission is simple: make Matsuda Jiu-Jitsu famous. And by the time she's done, it just might be. The Matsuda siblings may have entered Street Fighter at different times and have wildly different trajectories, but together they tell a story few others in the series can, one of legacy still in the making. Sean was introduced as a low-tier underdog with big dreams and bigger heart, but the love fans have for him speaks to something real: his persistence, his hunger, and the idea that even someone written off can one day break through. He's not the strongest, but he never stops showing up. That kind of fighter, Street Fighter always has room for one more. Laura, on the other hand, entered the series with confidence, skill, and something most newcomers struggle to find: identity. She's bold without being arrogant, strong without being cold, and passionate without being reckless. Well, mostly. She doesn't just seek to make her family's style known, she wants it respected. Together they represent the past and future of Matsuda Jiu-Jitsu. And for Laura, she might also be the future of a race of strangely attractive fishmen. One still trying to make a name for himself, the others out in front, blazing the trail. If they ever enter the same game, it'll be a true sibling rivalry, years in the making. From underdog dreamers to electrifying trailblazers, the story of Sean and Laura Matsuda is still unfolding. One is fighting to live up to the Matsuda name, the other is fighting to make it unforgettable. Whether you're a longtime fan of Sean's scrappy ambition, or someone who enjoyed Laura lighting up the screen in Street Fighter V, one thing's clear: the Matsudas bring something raw and real to the world of Street Fighter. Family, passion, and fighting spirit. If you enjoyed this electric breakdown, be sure to like and subscribe for more lore dives into the characters and rivalries that shape the fighting game multiverse. And let me know in the comments, would you want to see the Matsuda siblings return in Street Fighter VI or beyond? Or perhaps even one of their extended family? Thanks for watching, and until next time, be excellent to yourselves and one another, and I'll see you soon.